Hello everyone, welcome to the purple classes of the Ras Indica IS Academy, Desh Badala, Padhai Badlo. So again, we have come up with a new topic on Indian economy, GS paper 3. As you all know that we are going like on a topic by topic study. So again, we have come up with very important topic for Indian economy GS paper 3 today. So that is going to be issues with growth and development. Okay. So as you all know that this is the syllabus of GS3. ये GS3 syllabus है, right? And then we have to discuss on this. So we have started with this topic number one. Under topic number one, we have lot of subtopics are there. Okay, issue related to planning, issue related to mobilization of resources. Now today we will be discussing issue related to growth and development. Okay, issue related to growth and development and the employment part we will be covering in the next video. Okay, we will be covering in the next video, and in this we will be covering growth and development. Okay, so after this after the next video, the first topic of GS paper 3 will be covered. Okay, and with the next we will be starting with the topic number 2, that is called inclusive growth and issue arising out of it, and this we will be covering in a single video. This we will be covering in the single video. Okay, so let's start with development and growth. Whenever you see that the word development and growth, they seems to be same, right? But are they? Are they same? They seems to be similar, but they are not same. They have a totally different. They have a totally different concept. Development has a different concept. Growth has a different concept. So first of all, we will be discussing what is the meaning of development. Okay. So growth and development are two related but distinct concepts. So first of all, we will be discussing the development part. Whenever we say development, we see something progress that is happening somewhere, right? Some progress is happening. But development has a multi-dimensional concept. It is not a single concept. Not a it is not a single concept. It is a multi-dimensional concept, and it is encompassing lot of things inside that. Okay, and since it is a multidimensional topic, development, because development is multifaceted, you cannot simply give a single uh, like measure. You cannot simply give a single measure. No, you cannot measure development using a single indicator. There is no single indicator of development. There are multi-dimensional indicator, multifaceted indicators are. Okay, so what is development? Development can be in various forms. You can have a economic development, you can have a political development, you can have a cultural development, you can have an environmental development. Okay, economic development, when your country's GDP growth is happening. Okay, your per capita income is increasing, right? Per capita income is increasing. Then what is a political development? In the political development, what type of parties are coming, what type of promises they are making. Okay, and so this keeps on happening. Political development, what is internationally, how India is doing internationally, right? Cultural development is a type of a renaissance, like how culturally the people are living, how what is the cultural things that are there in your country. Like we have a lot of people of various multiple faiths in our country, right? Multiple faith in our country, and they are following multiple practices in our country, right? So if we are allowing all these things, so we will have a high cultural development in our country. If we have a good political development, we will have a lot of political party. Like political development means you have a lot of political parties, people are voting, people are coming out, people are discussing the topic. Okay, right, discussing the topic and everything. So you call that as a political development in the country. Cultural development means whenever you are culturally involved in all the spheres of life, like you have multiple faiths, multiple practices, all people living together and everywhere, right? Environmental development means when you have a good amount of environmental control in your country in the form of pollution control, air control, pollution control, water pollution control, and various type national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, bird sanctuaries, and various other type, and how you are internationally adhering to the various treaties that you have signed. Okay, if you are following all these things, if you are following all these things, and if you are succeeding in all these things, you will be called as a developed country. You will be on the path of development. That means holistically, development as a word is a holistic word. It is a holistic word. It encompasses everything. Okay, now comes the concept of growth. Growth is a narrower term. What? It is a narrow term. It focuses on a single aspect. Single aspect. What is a single aspect? It measure the economic output only. It measure the economic output only, and one of the most important common measure which we all say, everybody say, is GDP and GNP, gross domestic product and gross national product and per capita income. So this is the way you measure your growth, right? So this economic growth reflects how our economy is, whether our economy is going up, whether our economy is going down, whether our economy is stagnant. Okay, like that. So GDP will tell like what is the output of your economy, what is the national income of your country, what is per capita income. So in the last video we have studied that our per capita income has nearly doubled since 2014. It has doubled to, I think, 1,72,000, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So this growth, how this growth is driven? Growth is driven by some of the important factors. What are those factors? What type of investment that is coming? What type of physical labor that is coming? What type of human capital that is coming? What type of technological innovation that is coming? So all these things, investment, physical, human capital, technology, all works together and helps in innovation, helps in increasing the productivity, and if you have a good government policy, then obviously economic growth will take place, right? So what is the relationship between them? The relation is that economic growth is just one part of development. As you can see here, economic development is just one part of the development. Okay, so but the thing is that this growth does not capture everything. This growth does not capture everything, because there are a lot of things that has to be captured, whether it is related to human capital, human well-being, progress of the human well-being, health, education, everything. So economic growth only capture the monetary value. Okay, it only captures the monetary value, only monetary value. Okay, because of that, what has happened is that sometimes, because of only focusing on the monetary value, we neglect some of the persisting issues like inequalities, environmental degradation, and because of that we have a negative externalities, and because of that, which happens because of unchecked economic growth. Because if you are simply doing unchecked economic growth only, we are focusing on growth and growth and growth, and we are neglecting all these things. We are neglecting equalities, we are neglecting environmental degradation, we are neglecting the social concept in our country. So the growth will be only on monetary term, and rest we will be lagging behind. Okay, so if you wanted to do growth, then it should help in development of the country. Growth is a monetary value term, development is a holistic term. Okay, I hope everybody got it. Now, what are the pros and cons of economic development? So, we are now focusing on the economic development, economic growth. So, what are the pros and cons of economic growth? Right? So, pros mean what are the benefits of economic growth? So, obviously, everybody knows that whenever economic growth happens, there are a lot of things we get it as a result, right? Obviously, whenever there is economic growth, there is a high standard of living of a people. Like because the economic growth happens, the income will rise, job secure, job market will increase because of the job. People will be getting the jobs. Okay, people will be getting the jobs will provide income to the people will be investing that income, and they will raise their standard of living. Higher incomes, higher standard of living, that will be improving the access to goods. People will be getting good amount of goods, various type of goods. Earlier they were focusing only on single goods where they are just living a bare minimum life, but as the income increases they will get a good amount of various other goods, right? The goods may be in the form of your better services, better healthcare, better education, and better infrastructure, right? Next, job creation. Economic growth leads to the job creation. Obviously, whenever your economy is growing, it will lead to the job creation because more and more companies will be coming, more and more employment they will be generating, more and more investment that will be coming, and that will generate the jobs over there, right? You know, vibrant Uttar Pradesh summit, vibrant Gujarat summit. Why these summit are happened? Because we call on investors. We call on investor to invest in our areas. Industries will emerge. More jobs will be created and unemployment rate will be down. And since there will be a lot of jobs that will be created, so slowly, the poverty level will also decline over it, right? Then investment in innovation and technologies. Whenever we have economic growth, that means sometimes the economic growth is driven by new innovations and new technologies. Sometimes the economic growth is being driven by the new innovations and new technologies, because whenever you are doing certain kind of research, whenever you are doing certain kind of innovation, you utilize it on your industries, and then you have an edge over the other, right? So anywhere technological advancement that is happening, it is because of the economic development. Because right now new technologies are coming, artificial intelligence is coming, and artificial intelligence topmost tool is chat gpt, right? We are utilizing chat gpt, then various ai tools are there now. Everywhere people are utilizing ai tools. Okay, so now ai is becoming more and more productive. Earlier people were living, so we call it as a age, we call it as a age before ai, after ai. So this artificial intelligence will be called as a age, right? So you born in the age of artificial intelligence, right? Then economic growth lead to increase in the tax revenue. Government will be having more taxes, government will be having more resources, right? Resource mobilization that we have studied the last topic. Government will be utilizing more higher taxes, more higher revenues, and government will be investing this money, this resources into the important sectors of education, healthcare, infrastructure, and all these places. Economic growth also reduces the debt burden, because if you are not having economic growth, you will be taking the loans from multilateral institution, outer governments, and everywhere. But if you have economic growth, you will getting a good amount of tax revenues, and this will reduce your debt burden. And once your debt burden is reduced, you also reduce your interest payment. You also reduce your interest payment. So relative burden goes down, and public and private debts goes down, and automatically our economy start reviving. Then investment in education and human capital. More and more economic growth will lead to more and more investment in education and human capital. Okay, whenever you have economic growth, you invest that growth in education, training, and skill development. Education, we are doing Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, training, Pradhan Mantri, Kaushal Vikas, ITIs we can do, and then skill development, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana we are running, right? Correct? So, why? economic growth leads to investment in these areas, and once these area get investment, we will have a better educated and skilled workforce. Okay, we will have a better educated and skilled workforce that we will be having, right? So with this, we will be having higher productivity. Obviously, we have a highly skilled workforce, then we will have a higher productivity in various aspect of our economic activity, and this productivity will also usher the innovation. It will also usher the innovation, and in the long run, it will provide you with economic prosperity. That is one of the more benefit out of it, right? Then if you are having economic growth, since you will be investing in training, you will be investing in education, you will be spending in skill development, it lead to global competitiveness. Your market, your product will be much more competitive in the international market. After LPG reform, liberalization, privatization, and globalization, Indian market become more and more competitive in the outside world. Earlier, they were getting help from the government, but now the government is saying that you have to compete with the international market. You have to make a quality of that product. So more and more economic growth lead to more and more global competitiveness. Okay, because of the increased foreign aid, because of the job creation, because of the economic diversification. Because if your economy is based on single resource, right? If we go by the Saudi economy, it is based on oil. So there is only one resource, and sudden ups and downs in this resource will be catastrophic to that economy. Okay, if you wanted to be competitive in the market, your economy has to be diversified. You have to do investment in various other places. Your money should not come from the single places. It has to come from the diversified places, so that any sudden shock in particular sector does not create any kind of issues with your that particular sector. Okay, then improved healthcare and quality of life. More and more economic growth, people will be having more and more money. People will be investing on their health. People will be improving their quality of life, like they will invest in healthcare, they will buy a good insurance plan. Okay, insurance plan, they will take good healthcare facilities, right? There will be a lot of medical risks that will be going on. Government, Ayushman Bharat government is providing for improving the quality of life and healthcare, right? So these are all things that will happen because of the economic growth. But whenever we talk of the pros, there are certain cons also there. Now, under cons, what are there? So, whenever economic growth happens, there are certain disadvantages also that we get. Okay, so every thing has a two aspects. One is positive, one is negative. So, some of the negative aspects of the economic growth is obviously environmental degradation is on the topmost. Whenever you do economic growth, it leads to environmental degradation, because a lot of pollutions will be created: air pollution, water pollution. People will be cutting the trees and forest areas. Resource depletion will happen. Habitat. We are creating dams, habitat destruction, increase pollution, water, because you are recklessly taking out the water from the ground. Okay, resource depletion, wherever you go, you will be getting water issues and air. And various type of forest resources are there, like, and some of the natural resources are there which are getting depleted, right? Deforestation is one of the consequences of that, correct? So these are having long term effects on biodiversity and public health. So for that, I don't have to say anything on that. You are seeing the consequences. You are seeing the consequences, right? Then whenever economic growth happens, it leads to sometimes inequality, because the gap between rich and poor widens up. It widens up because certain sector grows more faster than the other sector, and the income that has been generated from that economic growth is evenly not evenly distributed. It is not evenly distributed. Correct? So the wealthy people become more and more wealthy. Some well-educated become wealthy, but it disproportionately affects the poor. Then social dislocation will happen. Tribal people lives in forest areas or nearby forest areas, because there were minerals in the forest area, in the ground, in the land. They are being dislocated. They are being dislocated from their land, and now the government has taken away their land. Sardar Sarovar Dam. Sardar Sarovar Dam is there. It has displaced many people. It has displaced the wildlife. It has submerged the land. Correct? Because of that, there was job losses that will happen. There will community disintegration that will happen, because the community tie-up get broken up. There was a social unrest that will happen in that particular area. Right? With the economic growth, you have pressure on resource and infrastructure, because since economic growth will be happening, we need more and more resources. We will be needing more and more resources, and then recklessly felling of trees, recklessly felling of the resources will happen. Okay, it will strain the natural resources, because natural resources will not able to satisfy the needs of human. Correct. It will lead to congestion. It will lead to overcrowding. If you go like if you go to the cities, cities are right now highly overcrowded, highly congested, and the properly we are not utilizing the proper city. Every infrastructure of the city cannot be utilized properly, because city needs a special type of particular population. But if the population is too less, if the population is too more, then the resources of that places cannot be utilized properly. So you can see that right now we have a unbalanced growth that is happening, that we will be discussing in the coming slides. Proper housing facility you will not be getting. Only say some people will be getting good houses, proper houses. Some people are not having houses, they are living in the tents and all these things. Public services, you will not be able to get it properly. Some people are getting good amount of public services, some people are not even knowing that the government is providing the public services like that. Okay, then vulnerable to economic shock. If the economies are highly dependent, that means they are dependent on certain, like my economy is dependent on certain other country's economy, or certain other country economy is dependent on our economy. All of sudden economic shocks, all of sudden recession, all of sudden financial crisis or fluctuation may trigger upheaval in these areas. Okay, so the main thing is that if we are dependent, if we are dependent excessively on some particular industries, then it is highly volatile situation. Like Saudi Arabia, they have a oil economy. They are heavily dependent on oil economy. But after 2030, the people are saying that we will be reducing the oil consumption, gas consumption, and various other things. So Saudi Arabia has to look for some other way of generating the money. Right now, Saudi Arabia is moving toward the tourism part, as UAE has done, United Arab Emirates has done. Correct? So, if your economy is excessively dependent on certain sectors, then if your economic growth is being financed by certain sector, then you have to make sure that these sector along with other sector you need to develop. Economic growth leads to overconsumption and materialism. That means overconsumption means that something that you don't need also, but you think that in the near future I will be using it. So you lead to overconsumption of certain product. Overconsumption leads to environmental degradation because right now you don't need it, but for the fear of the future, you think that let's keep this. So overconsumption, materialism, you should have the fridge, you should have the AC, you should have all these things, so it shows your wealth and everything. So materialism, it creates economic growth, creates materialism. So your environmental degradation will happen, lots of waste generation. You can see the hills, you can see the hills of waste material near Ghaziabad in Delhi. Waste materials, polythene, all these things, we have a huge ecological footprint that we will be having. As per the recent report, it is said that now Earth cannot satisfy the need of the number of people that we are having. So we need 1.5 Earth. That is the concept. In order to satisfy the need of this many people of the world, right? Then economic growth sometime also leads to financial instability, because if you are fueling excessive credit expansion, you are giving money at a less rates, a less interest rate. Financial stability of 2008 financial crisis. Okay, it led to the recession. Asian financial crisis. All these leads to the financial stability if you are doing excessive credit expansion, because this is going to be a bubble. You are not sticking to the fundamentals and you are simply doing economic growth, excessive credit expansion. You are doing credit, you are giving the people money on the credit, even they don't have any good credit reports. Okay, and because of that, high inflation will occur and people will default on their loans. It will lead to economic recession, banking failure. Recently, a lot of banks has been failed because of this whole crisis. It has the concept of bank run. You might have got bank run. Bank run means when a lot of people came to the bank in order to take out their money back. Okay. Then cultural homogenization. Sometimes in the Indian context, we call it as economic growth leads to cultural homogenization. You know that Western culture is spreading exponentially in our country. People are following all the Western lifestyle things. They are following their food practices, they are following their clothing practices, they are following their eating habits, everything they are following. Okay. So lifestyle choices are changing, eroding the local tradition. Whatever the local tradition we are having, it is eroding that local traditions. Also, it is eroding the language, because now people don't feel happy speaking their mother language. People feel happy and more uh, respectful when they talk in English, right? So this westernization concept is also slowly because of the economic growth, people wanted that, okay, I wanted this part, that part, that thing. Earlier people used to wash their clothes with their hands. Earlier people used to wash their dishes, but now the concept of washing machine, now the concept of dishwasher has been come, right? Then economic growth leads to resource depletion and exhaustion of the resources. It is said that by 2030 the oil wells will be over. We don't know how much that is a true thing, but yeah, since it is a fossil fuel, it is limited. There is a chance that it may get exhausted also. So if we are unsustainably utilizing all these things, obviously it is going to get exhausted. The fossil fuel, minerals, fresh water. We are having issue with the fresh water. People are not having fresh water. If you go to a city of Bangalore or Kolkata, people are not having proper water to drink. People not have water for their day to day activities. People are dependent on the tanker facility the people are dependent on. So this shows that the resource are getting depleted, the resource are getting exhausted just because we are doing reckless consumption of things. Okay, that is the concept of economic growth. Now the next topic on jobless growth. Now very important topic, jobless growth. This is a recent phenomenon. This is a recent phenomenon, right? That means growth is happening, but jobs are not getting created. Economic growth occurs without corresponding increase in employment, or there is a reduction, or if we have reduction in unemployment, then we call it as a growth, right? So the thing is that they're saying that the economy is expanding, but not generating enough job as the economy is growing. Okay, so the economy is not able to absorb the labor force. Economy is growing, but cannot absorb labor force, and because of that, this is a huge concern and may lead to social unrest, income inequality, and various other things. Now joblessness growth happens because of certain reasons. Okay, here I have given four important reasons because of that joblessness growth happen. One is technological advancement. Right now artificial intelligence is taking the world with a storm, right? With automation, robotics, AI, all these things, artificial intelligence, right? So this technologies is helping boost the productivity. Earlier in the supply line, people were employed, but now robots are being employed in their place. So that means these robots have eaten away the jobs of certain people. Earlier, cashier used to sit in the bank, but slowly, this cashier work has been taken by the ATM machines. Correct? Then, jobless growth can happen because of structural changes also, because all of a sudden there is a sudden change in the structure of economy. Okay, shift from labor intensive to capital intensive. That means earlier you need labor intensive industries, earlier like jute industry, cotton industry, textile industry. These were earlier labor intensive industry, but slowly they give rise to the capital intensive. Capital means you invest the capital, you get the machine and get the work done, right? So many developing countries are having these issues in agriculture based economies, right? Third one is outsourcing and globalization. Because of the globalization, like if we go to why America is hiring more of Indians than their own Americans, because the Indian resource they can get at much lesser salary than giving the different salary to an American counterpart, right? So because of that, they are looking for the location from where they get resource easily, human resource easily, natural resource easily, raw material easily. So because of this outsourcing and globalization, again, there is a concept of jobless. If some people are going to certain places, from their places, the people will be getting job losses. Then mismatching skills. People are having a skill, but it is not up to date to the present need. People are not having a skill that is needed for the present need. People have to do data scientist, people have to go for robotics, people have to go for artificial intelligence, but right now people are still focusing on the other older technologies which are not needed in the recent markets. Correct? So there is a mismatch between the skills and the demand by the employer. What employer is demanding and what skills you are having, you are not able to provide a match in that. So because of that, jobless growth is happening. So if we wanted to give some example, I can see here in United States in 2008 what has happened. Financial crisis happened. Okay, and after that there was a jobless growth. Economy has grown, but job has not been created because job market remain very sluggish. Unemployment rates are very high in India. Like in our manufacturing and agriculture, manufacturing is increasing, agriculture is increasing, but special focus on services. Services is creating GDP. Services is creating gross value addition, but this gross value addition, gross domestic product are not giving more jobs. Jobs are not increasing as the GVA and GDP is increasing. If you go to European Union, they again face the job losses, high rate of unemployment, structural issues were there, labor market issues were there. Because of that, economic slowdown has happened. So this is regarding the jobless growth. Then sometimes a question comes like how you try to finish any question. So you whenever you have any answer, you have to write. So you have points in your hand, but every time you have to give a balanced conclusion on that. So how we can tackle the situation of jobless growth? We can tackle it by multifaceted approach, focusing on multiple areas. First of all, inclusive economic growth, investing in education, is spending in skills, present time skills, promotion activities by the government, labor market reforms. So all these should work together. All these should work together in order to remove this jobless growth with job giving growth. With jobless growth will get converted into job giving growth. Got it? Now we are moving into the next topic. Now come the concept of pro-poor growth. What is the meaning of pro-poor growth? Whenever we say pro-poor, that means the growth should happen by taking care of the poor also. Okay, economic growth of the poor, reduction in poverty, reduction in increasing in the living standard of the poor, right? So that means here we are talking about the distributional impact, whether the growth is properly getting distributed or not. This will only happen when you have economic whenever you have an inclusive development. Pro poor growth will only happen when you have a proper distributional impact. Pro poor growth will only happen when you have an inclusive development. But how government does our inclusive development? There are a lot of ways our government do pro poor growth. Everybody knows regarding rural development program, Manrega is there, National Rural Livelihood, NRLM, National Rural Livelihood Mission, Manrega, providing guarantees 100 day of work. Here they are getting guarantee work. Then investment in human capital, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, National Health Mission, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. All these are investing in human capital. Then targeted social welfare program, public distribution system, free food to 80 crore people of our country under public distribution system. Then we have various social assistance, national social assistance program, like providing pensions, providing healthcare benefits to the poor people, social assistance to the elderly, widow and disabled people, increasing in the microfinance and micro enterprises to provide microfinance and micro enterprises to the ladies, to the women who can run their own important enterprises. Right now we have got a concept of Lakhpati Didis. Lakhpati Didis. That means they are working and they have taken some important entrepreneurship activity on their own and they are earning more than 1 lakh rupees. Government is running self-help group bank linkages program. Here self-help groups are working and around a lot of lakhs of self-help groups are there in our country which are getting bank credits. Then infrastructure development, how government is doing infrastructure, road, Pradhan Mantri, Gram Sadak Yojana, water supply, Jal Shakti Abhiyan. You know Jal Shakti Abhiyan, right now around 12 crore people, 12 crore households have got the functional tap water connection, functional tap water connection they have got. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, sanitation facility under Swachh Bharat mission. This is called pro poor growth. This is called pro poor growth, right? Then promotion of inclusive growth policy. You have to create enabling environment so that everybody should get the benefit of the policies that government is running. Where the government has to do progressive taxation, government has to do land reforms. All these actions government has to take in order to make a pro poor growth, because poor people are lagging behind just because they're not getting proper support. So government is giving and providing support in all these way possible. Then what exactly at the last, if any question comes like that, how you are going to end that question? That means again it is a multifaceted approach, and you have to address the structural barriers and targeted policy and program that we have already discussed over here. Can you see here all these targeted policy intervention? Pro poor intervention government is doing, pro poor intervention, rural development, investment in human capital, then targeted social welfare, promotion of microfinance, infrastructure development. So if anything related to poor comes, you can put all these points over there. These are very very important points. You have to keep on revising these points. Okay, now come the concept of balanced and unbalanced growth. So growth can be balanced and growth can be unbalanced. Growth can be both balanced and unbalanced. So we will be discussing what is the meaning of balanced growth. Whenever we say the growth is balanced, that means simultaneously development of all the fields are happening. That means the development fruits are evenly spreading across. So whatever sector, agriculture, industry, service, or whatever sector, like the fruits of that development is spreading evenly to everybody. We call it as a balanced growth. One of the example is India's green revolution. That growth has happened in 1960s and 70, and it has spread. The green revolution happened at a particular place, but the fruits of the green revolution has reached to each and every part of the country, and it has helped in elevating the food shortage. So we call it as this, called as a balanced growth. Then what is the meaning of unbalanced growth? That means there only we are focusing on the certain sector. That is called unbalanced growth. Unbalanced growth means we are focusing only on certain sector and rest of the sector are not getting proper attention, right? So because of that, what will happen? It will lead to disparity of income, it will lead to unemployment, it will lead to infrastructure issues that will happen. There is one important example in India where unbalanced growth has happened. It is in the software and information technology. It has led to an unbalanced growth. Because of this service sector growth, our manufacturing has lagged behind. Okay, we are only able to develop skill human resources for software technologies and information technology, and because of that, we have lagged on our agriculture side, we have lagged on the manufacturing side. So this is an example of unbalanced growth that has happened. So India has achieved both balanced growth in certain sector. India has also achieved unbalanced growth in certain sector. Now, what are the implications? Obviously, it leads to income inequality, regional disparities will be there, and we remain over reliance on certain sector. We will be relying totally on certain sector. Over reliance will be there on certain sector, and we are prone to external shocks. If that industry get external shock, we are prone to get shock. That is why we say that we have to remain balanced in all the area. So we need to be more resilient. We need to be more and more sustainable in our way of achieving the growth. So that is the main thing. India has achieved in some places balanced growth, some places unbalanced growth, but there is a need. We still have a challenge. India is still having a key challenge of proper balanced growth that we need to achieve. Still, we have not achieved it. We have to still achieve it. And once we are able to balance between our primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector, and we are able to employ most of our workforces, then we will be calling it as a balanced growth. Now, what are the dimensions of development? What are the various aspects of development? What is for the individual, community, society? So this concept of dimension for the development concept is very very multidimensional. Dimension is like that. Economic dimension is there, where we are focusing on the gross domestic product. economic growth, GNP, GVA, gross value addition. Social dimension of development, we are focusing on education, health, social service, gender equality, human rights, all these things. Environmental dimension, we are focusing on like environmental sustainability, conservation of natural resources. So there is nothing much to explain over here. I'm just reading out the things for you. Then political dimension, like what is the governance in our country, how our country is getting governed, whether our country has a proper political stability or not, or any or do we have an unstable government, what is the democracy, whether we are transparent enough or not, whether we are accountable or not, all these, how much is the role of citizen participation, how much citizens are taking participation. That is another development dimension of the development. Then cultural dimensions, like how our cultural heritages are there, how we are spreading our diversity, how we are interacting with each other. Then technological, what we are doing in science and technology, digital infrastructure, whether we have proper access to information, what is the role of that. Psychological and spiritual dimension are there, like what is your mental health, personal fulfillment, personal value, belief system, are you able to follow your personal belief and value system. Then spatial dimension, regional disparity, like if we say that only North India is successful, in the North India is developed, what about the Northeast, what about the South, what about the Southwest, what is Southeast, okay, all these areas. We have to focus on regional disparities, we have to remove the regional disparities, we have to bridge the gap between rural urban areas, territorial planning, okay, like smart cities mission. Smart city government is also running, aspirational district program government is running, right? Then sustainable development dimensions are there. Human development, human development index is there, which talks about your mean schooling, life expectancy, right? All these things are the major dimension of development. So dimension are all interrelated and interconnected. A single change in one dimension may lead to sudden change in the other dimension. So all, if you are satisfied with all these 10 points, then you will be called as developed. Then you will be calling yourself as you are in a development stage where all the things are getting developed properly. Now we are moving towards the next topic regarding the measurement and indicators of development with respect to India. So, how do you measure the development? So, right now, I am going to give you some indicators. First is economic development is measured using the GDP. आपका GDP, what is your GDP? What is your per capita income? Gross value addition of agriculture, GVA of industry, GVA of service sector. These are all the way you measure. If GVA is increasing, that means economic development is happening. How you measure human development? Life expectancy, how much it is. What is your literacy rate? School enrollment. Okay, GDP per capita, how much you are doing. Poverty indicators, how you measure poverty indicator, what is your head count ratio, how much poverty is there, 37, 25%, whatever, what is a poverty gap, okay, what is a severity, whether anybody multidimensional, obviously multidimensional poverty is there, multidimensional poverty is there, what is the situation of fooding in your country. So here we are doing the free food scheme is there, okay, from public distribution system, PDS system, we are providing right under Jal Jeevan mission, and sanitation under Swachh Bharat mission, correct? So this is how you measure. These are the measure tools. Yeah, these points will come handy to you in the examination when any question comes with that and you have all the data with your hand. Okay, in exam only you need to supplement with the current data. What is the headcount ratio? The government will be releasing. What is the poverty gap? Government will be releasing. So at the last, whenever you are giving the exam, you should know only that data. Rest all the points are here. You have to just simply add on the data over here and then your answer is over, right? Then educational indicator, what is the literacy rate, what is the school enrollment ratio in secondary, primary, tertiary, right? What is the quality of education? Acer report are coming, okay, you can quote reports over here, Acer report, Aisha report. Then health indicator, how you find out whether your the people are healthy or not, like infant mortality rate, how much it is, under 5 mortality rate, how much it is, maternal mortality rate, how much it is. Every year, National Family Health Survey releases the data. Correct, government releases the data. You can find the data from anywhere, right? If you add the numbers, you will get a good marks over here. Then unemployment, employment, you have a employment population ratio, labor force participation rate, unemployment rate, all these things are there. Okay, so you will get all the data over here. Then infrastructure and connectivity, like cooking facility, LPG, gas, road transportation, digital infrastructure. Right now we are running like Aadhaar, right? Aadhaar is a digital infrastructure. UPI is a digital infrastructure, right? We are utilizing DigiLocker, correct, DigiLocker that we are utilizing. So this is all. We have COVID portal is there, which has been utilized throughout our country, and it has been praised worldwide. How you will find that gender equality is working? So what is the gender parity index, whether it is increasing, whether it is decreasing, right? What is your workforce participation, how much male, how much female, who is taking decision, male, female, how many males and how many female, what is the percentage of the male taking decision, what is the percentage of female taking the decision, what is the policy of gender based violence, whether there is any child marriages or not. All these things are there, these are indicators. How you will find out environmental sustainability? What is your air quality, what is your water quality, whether forest cover is increasing, whether forest cover is decreasing, whether your carbon emission are increasing, whether your carbon emission are decreasing. Okay, how much resources you are like conserving, and what type of practices you are utilizing in order to conserve the things. Income inequality, Gini coefficient, there is a Gini coefficient which find out like what is the income inequality, right? Now, what are the approaches to development? Like in our country, like if we are there in our country, India, so we have approach, we have done some approaches, we have done something to move towards the development. Market-based approach. So, what are the market-based approach? Market-based approach means like what developmental framework strategies that we have taken. What are the strategies that we have taken? How we have remained competitive, like private ownership, entrepreneurship activity. So, market-based approach of development is private ownership. We have given certain ownership to the private party so that they can become more and more efficient in that way. We have given free market and competition in our country. Price mechanism, we have put it on market only. Okay, the price has to be determined by the market, except on certain essential goods. Except on certain essential good, right? Everybody will be done by the price mechanism, right? We have opened our market to entrepreneurship and innovation, right? We are providing opportunities to businessmen and everywhere, providing, the venture capitalists are providing money to our country. We are investing in the startups area, stand up India, and various other things. We have integrated, our economy. We have opened our economy. We are allowing other countries to come to and invest in India. We are going outside the country to invest other places. We have made proper property rights and rule of law, all that thing that we have all created. This is called the market based approach. Now, what is the role that state has done in the development of the country? So the role that state has played for the development. So state has done a lot of intervention during the time of 1947 when India is getting independent. The state has intervened in all the aspects of the economy for promotion of growth and reducing the poverty, because the 5 year plans, 5 year plans has been created for, and they've set the target. They've set the target that we have to achieve this percentage of the GDP growth. We have service sector growth, then this much of infrastructure growth that we need, right? So that is the role of the state. Since 1951, we are getting for a lot of time, like 17 plans were there, 17 or 12 plans were there that we have generated, and 5 year plans have come into the places where we have discussed regarding all the social surveys, promotion of balanced growth, and the regional development. Public sector dominance came into being because government is controlling all the public sector, right? Government is holding all the big companies, right? Steel, mining, energy, telecommunication. So government has done lot of investment in all these areas. Lot of PSUs, public sector undertakings, are within the country. and this led to the development of the country. Land reforms are being done by our country. Tenancy Act, Model Tenant Act has been created. Then infrastructure development, right now, PM Gati Shakti, PM National Infrastructure Pipeline, railway are growing, ports are growing, everywhere, everything is growing, roads, railways, ports. Social welfare program has been started by the government in the form of Mahatma Gandhi, Manrega, National Rural Livelihood Mission, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. All these things are there. Then green revolution, we know, liberalization reforms that we know. Okay, so this is the role of the state, that state has performed in this work. So if we try to give an exact example like how the state intervention had led to development, we call it as a green revolution. Well, just a one example. This is one example that we can do. Okay, so how state intervened? It is the green revolution. Green revolution introduced high yielding variety crops. Government has created a favorable policy environment for agriculture productivity. Government has started investing in the agriculture research. Government has even started investing in the extension research, right? So this year, MS Swaminathan, who was called as the father of green revolution, has received the Bharat Ratna award. Okay, he has received the Bharat Ratna award. Okay, so they, because of that, food imports have increased. Earlier we were the ex- importer of the food. Sorry, food import has not increased, it has got decreased. Our dependency on food import got decreased, and now we are exporting the food. We have rural livelihood has changed, and poverty reduction has happened, economic growth has happened. Now, since we have discussed all the advantages of everything, now we are left with some of the challenges of development and growth. So, what are the challenges? Obviously, whenever we do economic development and growth, so still certain things are still remaining. The poverty that has to go very low is still persisting. It is still a issue. Poverty is still an issue, and proper access to education and healthcare services are not up to mark. People are still far away from proper education and healthcare, especially women's. Inequality, we are not able to bridge the gap. There are still a lot of barriers are there. The gap is widening. The inequality gap is widening. The rich are getting richer, and because of this, social unrest is happening. Right? Then we have corruption. Obviously, whenever growth and development happen, it lead to corruption. We know a lot of government servants, even the private peoples, are doing a lot of corruption, and because of that, the resource that is for the benefit of the poor and the needy does not reaches to them on proper time. Okay, so because of that, they do not get essential services at proper time, and because of that, because of corruption, it keeps the investor out of bay. Investor looks for the country governance model. Investor looks like what is the corruption perception index of this country, and if it is very very bad, it hinders the economic growth, it deters the investment, and obviously it lead to the poverty and inequality. Then political instability during any type of conflict, civil unrest, or if you have any weak government, there is a political instability that will happen. And obviously, one political instability, it will deter your investment and it will hinder the development, right? Then, lack of infrastructure is another thing which has not been that has not been get due importance in the faster pace, but slowly our road, ports, and energy are getting a good type of facilities. Environmental degradation is another challenge. Proper and easy access to healthcare and education facility. Urbanization is taking place recklessly, it is not in a sound manner. Housing issues are there, transportation issues are there, sanitation issues are there. Because of it is leading to the slums areas, it is leading to the slums areas. And global economic uncertainty is still at the door, and technological divide is the latest one. is the latest one, where some people are highly technical savvy. Some people don't even know how to operate a mobile. So because of this technological divide, there are a lot of corruption that is happening, a lot of issues, technical issues are happening. So we need digital literacy, we need innovation, we need information communication and technology infrastructure in order to beat the challenges in the course of development and growth. So addressing these challenges need a very coordinated and comprehensive strategy and sustainable development strategy that is being needed, which we will be building a self-reliance nation. So guys, this is all for today. Thank you so much. Any doubts will be dealt in the next in the coming classes. If you have any doubt, you just let me know, and I will be clearing all your doubts, and I will be coming with the next topic in the next class. So thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care.